All right, gang, welcome to Chapter 10. Now let's talk about constructors and the role they play in inheritance. Suppose you work for a company that manufactures sunglasses. And so you decide to create a sunglasses class. Assume that two of the properties that sunglasses have are frame color and a lens color. Also assume you have a constructor that takes no parameters. Okay? But that sets the frame color to black as a default and sets the lens color to brown as a default. So the constructor will create that instance of the class, or create that object. It doesn't require any unique identifier. We're not telling it what colors it has to be. It jumps straight to the default. Okay? So it inherits from sunglasses those default values. That means that every prescription sunglasses object will have a frame color and a lens color, and assume it also has a diopter. A diopter is simply a number that represents one of the values as to how strong the prescription is in a pair of prescription glasses. Assume that constructor for this child class is also parameterless, but that it sets the diopter to 0. So we're defaulting to a specific value again. When you declare an object of the type prescription glasses, you'll call the prescription sunglasses constructor. It in turn calls the sunglasses constructor, which executes first. So first it creates the instance of sunglasses, black and brown, right? Frame black, lens brown. Then it jumps over and it sets the diopter to that default of 0. Okay, so the black frames and the brown lenses come from the parent constructor, and the 0 diopter value comes from the child constructor. So one's the sunglasses, the other's an instance of sunglasses, which is prescription sunglasses. So, excuse me. Assume you have a different sunglasses class that has a non-default constructor. This one, there is no default. It requires a string representing the color that is sent for the frame color, and another string for lens, which is sent for the lens color. Now, when you create a child class, because the child class constructor is going to call the parent class, you have to have 2 arguments in there, one for each of those. So we're sending those 2 strings. Let's say, for instance, red and yellow. Red will go into the parent class constructor and become the color of the frames, and yellow will be for the lenses. Both of those in the parent class. The diopter is still set to default to 0, so we're specific about the colors, but not the strength of the lenses. Okay? We could have it to where it receives 3 values, to where that diopter we had to pass a third, and we'd have to pass in 3 values, 2 strings and a number. It could be a float, decimal. It's a fractional number. It'll be like 3.0, 2.0, 1.5. So that's inheritance when it comes to constructors. So the constructor, there may be values that we have to pass it when we construct our objects that may not require parameters from us. They could just set to a default value. So if the parent requires parameters, the child has to require those same parameters to be able to utilize that parent class. All right. So you'll see some more of this in the exercises. And as always, ask questions early and often.